Hi, it's Savannah O'Gwyn from Savannah Land 2. Today I'm sharing another project that is perfect for literally any paper Smooches stamp set. I call this project a mini coloring book. It includes crayons on the outside, an elastic closure, a folder for coloring pages, and a workspace. These mini coloring books can be used for Easter baskets, birthday gifts or favors, or even for children when traveling long distances, or to keep them occupied in the grocery store. Now this project has lots of steps, so I'm going to go slow. And I'm going to rate this project at a medium difficulty level. For this project, you're going to need several sheets of cardstock, elastic of two different sizes, one that's about 1/4 of an inch wide, and one that's just an elastic string or cord. 4 eyelets, and an eyelet tool. I'll be using the crocodile. A score buddy, a trimmer, double-sided tape, crayons, a sewing machine, and any paper Smooches stamp set. Let's get started. First, you're going to want to create the base of your coloring book. You're going to take a regular sized cardstock sheet and cut a 1/2 inch off the side, making it 8 inches by 11 inches. Then you're going to flip your cardstock horizontally and you're going to cut right down the center, right at the 5.5 inch mark. From one cardstock sheet, you can make 2 coloring book bases. Next, you will score some lines. Now, I don't know how to do this mathematically, and I don't know how to explain it technically, so you're going to get the Savannah Land version. Normally, when you score a cardstock, you would line up your left edge and your top edge into this corner, right into it, and then you would score along your line. But this book has a spine that's about 1/8 of an inch wide, which allows depth and extra coloring pages to be placed inside the folder. So to create this spine, I took my cardstock and I just lined it up. Instead of going right into the corner, I lined it up with this first score line, and once it was straight, I scored at the 4. And then I creased it. And once I opened it back up, I did the exact same thing after flipping it. So I flipped it, and then I lined it up right on that first score line, held it tight, and scored down the number 4. This creates that 1/8 of an inch gap for my spine. And now you've created your base. Now you're going to want to attach the elastic to the front of your coloring book base. And since the sewing machine is large and loud, I'm just going to show you what I did. You're going to lay your base out flat and stitch on your elastic anywhere you want. Then you're going to take a crayon, put them under the elastic, and pull tightly with your elastic, making a loop. I'm going to take this out so you can see. You're going to want to create a loop. So after you put your crayon in there, you hold down your elastic, creating that loop, and place a piece of blue painter's tape down. Now I always check to make sure the crayon can go in and out. I remove him, and then when he's going through the sewing machine, I hold this part down. You can also tack it down with some more blue painter's tape, but I just held him down. And then I stitched along the top of that tape. And I repeated that process until I had as many crayons as I'd like on the front of my book. Once you've stitched down your elastic, you're going to want to work on the inside panels. First, we're going to create the folder. Now this folder has been created with colored cardstock, and what I did was I cut a piece of paper that was just about the same size as my coloring book base. That's about 3 7/8 inch by 5 1/4. Then we're going to score some more lines. We're going to score a 1/2 inch on the left and on the bottom. So a 1/2 inch for both. Next you're going to want to trim your cardstock, and I'll get a ruler so you can see it. You're going to want to trim a diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right, and this is where I would cut it, right down that line. And once you do that, you will get something similar to this. Now I've also cut on a diag here, right where those two score lines came together. So I would also cut, let me draw it for you again, right across this line. And I've attached double-sided tape to the scored parts. Now this is going to create our folder. After you crease these, you're going to want to remove your double-sided tape backing. And attach it right to the left side of your coloring book base. Next, we're going to work on the workspace. For mine, I used a very sturdy and heavy-duty poster board on the right hand side so that the child has something sturdy to work on. And all I did was I did the same thing as I did with the cardstock. I cut it to a little bit less than the panel, put double-sided tape on the back, and now we're going to remove the backing and attach it to the right hand side of our coloring book. Now we're going to take our eyelets and our string elastic, and we're going to create this closure. Now the eyelets are important because they hold this workspace down, and they also hold the closure in. And the closure actually goes through the back. So first what you're going to want to do is punch 4 holes in the corners of your book. They don't have to be perfect, but just line them up and punch your holes. Then you're going to take 2 eyelets and you're going to do nothing to them. You're actually just going to set them in your left-hand side, the left-hand side. That's important. And then you're going to set them. Just regularly. You don't have to do anything special to them. Now, for the right hand side, you're going to take your elastic and you're going to string them through the back. Oops, came out. There we go. And you're going to want to hold the top one. I'm going to do the top one first. So you're going to hold the top one and put your eyelet right through that hole, capturing that elastic as you go. I'm going to flip him over and set him on the back. So my elastic is securely attached through the eyelet. Then I'm going to pull the string taut and place my other eyelet through, capturing this end in the eyelet. See how it's been captured? And I'm going to set the eyelet again. And now your closure has been added. You are going to want to trim off the excess. And then you check to make sure it closes. Perfect. Now, the coloring pages for these books, I'll show you in this one, are the same size panels as your folder. So it's about 3.5 by 5 inches. And I've used several images for my nieces and nephews' coloring books, which I've shown at the beginning. I used the 9 Live stamp set, Paper Smooches Flap Happy, and Cutasaurus. Now there are lots of options for these coloring pages. First, you can just stamp a regular scene. So I masked the dinosaur and made the tree and the other dinosaur looking at him. You could also create a postcard and have a kid color the front, add a sentiment, and then write on the back and mail it to someone. You could also stamp a game, like which one of these don't belong. You could also stamp on both sides, and then they can color on this side and color on the back. And finally, you can stamp in different colored inks. You know what? You could also even have your kids create their own stamped coloring pages. So you can use any Paper Smooches stamp set for this. It's perfect. Now I hope that you will try making some of these mini coloring books yourself. Please leave a comment below on the blog or on the YouTube video with a link to one of your creations. Thanks so much for watching.